that seller $80,000, if they want their money back, they've got to sue them for it, or file a court action against them. The correct action will be for that seller to just do a corrective deed and record a corrective deed. But it's a real simple mistake because they thought they were saving money, and that's a huge one down the road. Since the majority of Riverwood future residents currently live locally, would you comment on potential situation we most likely will face when over 150 houses enter the market? We talked about that, so I wouldn't be concerned about that. You might stagger it a little bit. You might think about it again. If your property is such, talk to your realtor now. There's nothing wrong with that. I've talked to clients where I have worked with clients for 15 to 20 years. It's okay. We don't mind that. As realtors, we go out, our job, my belief is, our job is to protect the public. As a realtor, that is truly what I believe. I protect the public. I work with the public every day. My job is to protect the public and make sure they're well aware. Not go out there and just say, oh great, you're ready to sell, let's go. I need a commission. Any agent who's out there just to get a commission, that's not the agent you want. You want the agent that's going to care about you. How realistic is the town's assessment of the value of the house and land? Another great question. So for the longest time, they were way off. New Hampshire, they require a reassessment every 3 to 5 years. In order to get that answer accurately, I would have to look at that particular house versus the assessment to see where it is. Currently, they are still off the mark. Most of the properties that I'm seeing, let's just say they might be assessed in the low 230s to 250s, are selling in the 300 range right now. So at least in my marketplace, they're off. Your marketplace may be the same, or your marketplace may have updated. It depends on how aggressive your town is. If your town, quite frankly, has the money to put the assessors to work and get them busy and doing what they need to do, your assessments may be updated. Now, if your assessment was done in the last several years, where was our market? The market was down, so your assessment's probably going to be down. So I wouldn't necessarily count on that assessment being a fair representation of today's market. Any thoughts on we buy ugly houses? Yeah, I have a great thought on that. It's a good business model. If you're the guy that's buying the houses, it's a great business model. Because I'm walking in saying, hi dear, nice to meet you. By the way, I'm going to buy your house. I'm going to give you 25% less for your house because you're going to move out real quick. Then I'm going to take that house, I'm going to do a little cleanup on it. I'm going to sell it for 40% more and put that extra 40% in my pocket. So it's a great concept if you're the guy that does the buying. I don't suggest it. Are the buyers being qualified before viewing the home? More than ever. And honestly, if you have an agent who's not qualifying the buyers when they come in, they're wasting your time and theirs. I won't work with a buyer unless they've already talked with the lenders and can come in and say, I have a pre-qualification, I'm ready to buy. It's just a simple part of the market. Years ago we used to do what I called lake tours. So someone would walk in the door, they were fogging a mirror, they were still alive, good, let's get in my car, let's go. And we would run around the lake and we would show them everything out there. And then we'd get back to the office and say, you ready to buy? I said, no, I just wanted a tour of the lake, thank you. That's what would happen. Now, today, we qualify the buyers, we send them to the lender. Keep in mind, realtors do not, in New Hampshire anyway, do not qualify the buyers as far as the old school way of, I couldn't tell you how to operate a mortgage calculator right now. We do it all on computer. If they want to know how much a mortgage payment might be, what I typically do is I say, here's a couple of lenders I trust, talk to those lenders, and when you're done talking to them, let's go back and reassess this and see what you can buy. But have them talk to a lender. Dual agency and disclosure. If it's different agent with the same agency, is there still a need for disclosure agreement? Yes. So some agencies practice what they call designated agency in New Hampshire. There is one more form of it, designated agency, in which we are a large firm, let's say it's a Keller Williams firm where they have 400 agents, and they say that you, Natalie, are going to be a designated agent for this seller, and you, young lady, are going to be a designated for this seller. You are within the same company, but you're working for two different clients. So it's not necessarily required there. A brokerage like mine, every agent in my company represents that same client, whether they're a buyer or a seller. So if you have a client contract with us, if you're my listing client, every single agent in my company represents you at that point. So it is required, again, if you even get the feeling that someone's acting like a dual agent, have the conversation about explain it, know the rules, and make sure that it's disclosed and disclosed in writing. That's the law. It's not a request by the Real Estate Commission. It's the law. They must disclose it in writing. Is it better to have a full house or an empty house? Or even an open house? So, full house or empty house? Empty is not good. If you have a completely empty house because you've moved out and you've moved all your stuff, have a stager come in and put some furnishings in. Buyers like to sit down and get comfortable. They like to feel the space. I mean, I've had people lay down on beds. It's crazy, but I've had them lay down on beds and get a feel for the bedroom if they like the bedroom. More importantly is you've got to have them be able to get comfortable in the house. With nothing in the house, it gets very uncomfortable, so you have to at least have some furniture in there. Now, when I bought my first condo overlooking the lake, it was great. They had one 1970s orange easy chair in there, and that was the only piece of furniture facing the view. I went up there, the agent had me sit down, I looked at the view, I said, done, we're here. But I was able to sit in the chair and enjoy it. That's the key component there. You must be able to sit around the house and enjoy it. See some things in there, you know. It doesn't have to be packed full of stuff, but I wouldn't recommend completely empty. Remember also, an empty house, what happens? Their eyes are not attracted to anything else other than the defects of the house. All they can see are the defects. They're not distracted by that sofa or that chair or the television set or the pictures of something. They're not distracted by that, and I hate to say it that way, but that is a marketing tool and a sales tool. If the buyer's a little distracted on certain things, it keeps their attention away from other things. If that house is completely empty, every single defect is now visible to them. Okay, we currently live in Hampton Meadows, and we hear from realtors often telling us they have clients waiting on condos in our association. Is it wise to talk now to eager buyers for a condo? Yes. Talk to them, find out what their plans are. Talk to the realtors, find out, you know, if I put my place on the market today, what kind of time frame are we talking? Is that going to work for you? It might. And you might have something so desirable that that buyer is willing to say, hey, why not? I'll wait 6 months. It's up to you. You make the decision. You have that conversation and decide, am I willing to wait 6 months? Okay, then you do that. Once an offer or more has been made at list, can the seller raise the price again? So you always have the right as a seller to accept, reject, counter, or walk away. Okay? Accept, reject, counter, or walk away. Those are your rights as a seller. You have those rights. You own the property, not us. Although we like to think we do as agents. We go in and it's our property. Well, no, it isn't. It's still your property. But can you raise the price? You could. If you had 2 offers, again, people coming in and saying, hey, I'm going to give you asking price, you could say, you know, I'm willing to raise the price, I want an extra $10,000, first one to give me an extra 10 gets it. You have to be cautious of, there is a clause that says, if I as a realtor have a contract with you to list your house, and I bring you a ready, willing, able buyer, and you choose not to sell to them, you still owe me a fee. So be mindful of that. That happened recently with us where the seller said, no, it's going to cost me too much to sell. I'm not going to sell the property. Ready, willing, able buyer, please pay us our fee. Let's have a discussion. You told us at one point you wanted to sell the property, and now you chose not to sell the property. So you have to be careful of that. But again, I wouldn't say that you could raise the price. It's not a real good strategy. Probably be a better strategy for that agent to spend some time working those buyers to see if they can get them up. And that's typically what we do. You know, play one off the other. I mean, it sounds like an awful thing to say, but it's how we do it. You know, we go back, hey, you know, so-and-so, property I just recently sold, I talked to the buyer and he said, I'm going to offer $270. It was listed at $300. I said, don't waste my time. What do you mean? So I have an offer higher than that. I can't tell you what it is, but I'm going to tell you that if you want to play ball, you've got to swing at the pitch a little better. So he swung at the pitch a little better. Now they went back to both of them and said, okay, this is what I'm willing to accept. But he wouldn't have had that opportunity, and I wouldn't have got that buyer up if I didn't at least give him a little bit of knowledge to say you need to swing at the pitch a little better. We understand a local company will be hiring approximately 1,000 people in the next 5 years. How do we find out which realtors may be working with the relocation company? Great question. Ask them. Go in and ask them. Ask the local brokerages and say, who are you working with on relocation? Go to that company and say, who's your relocation agent? You know, ask the question, who's your relocation agent? A lot of your national companies, such as RE/MAX, they have a relocation component, and they work with that. We all work as referrals, just to give you that heads up. We all work with referrals. So if someone was coming into the area, we would offer a referral out, and we'd pay a referral to an outside brokerage and have them give us a buyer. But if you're looking for someone to work specifically with those relocation people, ask them who it is and talk to some of the bigger brokerages. They may have a contract, like I said, RE/MAX I think does quite a bit of that. Okay, we talked about that. Should I as a seller have an inspection? No, you should not, because once you have an inspection, you must disclose everything that is wrong with that house. Really important. Whether you want it to or not, once you know it, you have to disclose it. So as a seller, I never recommend you have an inspection done in advance unless you're prepared to fix everything on the list. Because as a realtor, I'm also required to disclose it. I have to now, once I've known about it, I have to disclose it. And it's just as simple as that. So if you know you have a problem, fix it. If you don't know you have a problem, you don't know you have a problem. Let them find out. Okay? Let them find out. Because they may come back to you, and the example would be you have to disclose a major problem, but they may come back and say, hey, you know, the roof is going to be only, 2 to 5 years, or it's starting to fail. I want a new roof on. Well, that new roof's going to be $20,000. Let's say we split the cost. You pay 10, I pay 10, you buy the house, you get the new roof moving forward. It's a fair arrangement. Maybe not for some people, but it is a fair arrangement. And how much do I know what to fix? Again, let the inspector find that for you. If you know that you have something major or something that you've neglected on the house because you just got too busy with things, get it taken care of. It's going to come up. But don't otherwise have an inspection because, once you know it, then you have to disclose it. I have a house that they did a home inspection on. The septic failed only because of high water in the springtime. For those who don't know that have septics, if you have groundwater that comes in contact with septic water, it then has to qualify the system as failed. Even if it's seasonal high water, when they opened up the dry well to look at it, it was full of water. They hadn't used the cottage in 9 months. So there was a problem with it. Groundwater had infiltrated the system. But moving forward, I now have to disclose that problem. How do you think that works? Hi, would you like to buy this house? Oh, by the way, it has failed septic. The seller knows about it. I have to tell you about it, but did you want to buy this thing? It doesn't work out too well. So you end up having to get those things fixed. Any other questions? Anybody else? Yes, sir.
How do you handle fixed things in the home, such as a mounted TV or a chandelier?
Great question, thank you. So, how do you handle fixed things in the home if they're attached to it, like a mounted TV or a Tiffany lamp or something like that? So when you go to sell your house, if you have something like that that you do not intend to leave behind, remove it in advance. The greatest example is you have that Tiffany lamp hanging over the dining room, and you want to take that with you. That's great. Go box it up, go down to Home Depot and buy an average $100 lamp, stick it on the ceiling, and call it a day when you go to sell. Because every single buyer, they have radar vision. And they go, oh, I remember that Tiffany lamp was up there when I looked at the house and I wanted that in the sale. They always do. So you have to be cautious of that. Fixed TVs, same concept. What I recommend to sellers are, TVs are cheap. Don't get hung up on a television. They're cheap nowadays. Leave the TV on the wall, sell it with the house. If you're going to take the TV because it's really special and you want that TV that's 10 years old now, great. Leave the mounting bracket on there because otherwise the mounting bracket creates giant holes in the wall that you're going to need to patch anyway. So it's easier just, again, to leave it. The cost of TVs today, they're so cheap. It's just not worth it. And the technology's changed. The technology changes every, what, 3 to 6 months? So by the time you even go to the store to replace the TV, it's already changed again. Just deal with it that way. Any other questions? Ah, this is easy. You guys have been easy on it.
Very helpful, very informative. Just want to remind you, we will have the presentations on the back table there. And August 21st is the groundbreaking ceremony. And also, if you're in Pod 1 or Pod 2, make sure you reach out to Natalie to schedule your MEP meeting. And some of those meetings, some people who are not located close by, some of those can happen over the phone as well. Great, thank you. Thank you.